Hello everyone, Russ of Aquarium Max here, and we're going to do an unboxing. This is an isopod unboxing from SmugBug. I'll put a link in the description directly. You can go check out the website if you haven't already done so. Great place to get isopods. And recently they've added a line of isopod supplies to their available products. So various items, there's a couple in here we'll check out, but just wanted to give you that heads up if you've even seen their website fairly recently, there may be some offerings that you haven't seen before. Look at that. It's even got my name on this. Let's check this out. Oh, nice. I think I can read this just fine. I'm going to read this to you, this note. Russ, I hope you feel overwhelmed in a good way because that was our goal. I don't watch much YouTube, but I browsed your channel and love your soft-spoken narration. Keep up the good work. It's from Laura. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, but SmugBug. I love this little isopod here too. So, here we go. Oh, wow. Look at these stickers. I love it. There's a card, SmugBug. The logo, that's the one on the website. That's very cool. There's that information. Again, I'll put links in the description, but you can also take note of the Facebook website and the email address there. I love that. Super Mom, that's so cool. And it's a ducky. Looks like. Oh, I love that. Check out these stickers. Some of these are going to go on my car with my Shapes in Nature stickers that I've got clowning around. Prehistoric boys. I like that too. I got to show that to my son. He's a dinosaur fan too. So I've got both of them going on. Pearl of the Soil, love that too. It's really what they are. And from another direction, but equally applicable, dirt shrimp. I kind of like that term just because I like shrimp and keep shrimp. I've kept shrimp for years too, so that works for me. I like it. Oh, cool. Check that out. Engaging in their natural tritivorous nature. And oh, look at that. Head to head. Looks like Bolivari and Expansus there. Very cool. Awesome. So thank you for that. That's fun in and of itself. Now let's get into here. Oh, heat pack's still a little warm. Great sign. Oh wow, I can see we're getting a lot of stuff in here. Whoa! So cool. Okay, you may be able to read that, but we're going to hold on for just a second and look at the dry goods first. This is bee pollen, I believe. I asked to try some of that as it's one of the dry good offerings that the SmugBug website has. And I figured this would be good not only for the isopods, but I could see if my velvet ants were interested in it because they are nectar eaters and they probably indulge in some bee pollen once in a while. So I figured I'd try that, see what they think, as well as with the isopods. And some soft wood. Excellent. It is difficult for me to get soft rotten wood where I live because it's really dry here. So I can collect, say, scrub oak wood and so on up in the canyons near my house, but they generally tend to be very dry and hard. They don't decompose. They're not in a decomposing state very often when I find them. So something like this would be great. Love that. Okay, and now let's dig into what we've got here. I'm really excited for these guys. This is Porcellio ornatus nord, and they're a locality of Porcellio ornatus that looks a lot like Porcellio haasi, which I think is awesome. If you look at them, they've got kind of a lighter skirt, and then they've got the kind of like yellow dot, except yellow dot is sort of like a Porcellio ornatus nord that started being painted from the posterior in forward and then stopped. And these have got these fabulous markings. Okay. And I'm really excited for these two. This is Cylisticus convexus, which I have. Oh, and there's one coming up nice and obligingly for the camera. Check that out. Cylisticus convexus is a very underrated isopod in my opinion. Very, very hardy. I'll be making a care video about these at some point in the future, but I've been keeping this species for years. But this morph is a pied morph. There was a pied morph that showed up in the hobby some time ago. Temporarily, it didn't seem to last. I think the genetics of it weren't very straightforward. Pied individuals would not produce, they weren't breeding true. And so this particular morph does seem to be breeding true. In fact, Laura of Smugbug isolated this. She got the original specimens from someone else, but she isolated it. And so I'm really excited to work with these. They look like a lot like Oreo crumbles, but they're a Cylisticus convexus version, which is awesome. Wow, cool. Armadillidium vulgare gem mix, which I love. I'm excited to have some gem mix. I did get some gem mix recently, but I was excited to get more because the more variety, the deeper the gene pool, the better the gem mix you're going to have. And I just love the look of gem mix, the variety. It's like reaching into a bag of jelly beans, except you don't want to eat them. And then what have we got here? We've got Armadillidium vulgare high yellow, a really cool morph. And these are kind of like Punta Cana, except for they're a paler color and really interesting pattern. So I'm going to have fun with these as well. And then finally, Porcellio, flavo marginatus. These are a fantastic isopod. They kind of look like Porcellio expansus, but went in a totally different direction. They have much narrower skirts, and the pattern on the inner part of the white markings is quite different, but they still kind of remind me of Porcellio expansus. They're really interesting creatures. Apparently these come from Greece and Crete. When they walk, they kind of walk high up, more so than many other isopods. And I'm really excited to be working with these. Look at that one with the just white marking right behind its head. That's fantastic. So let's unbox these two. By which I mean let's get these into their enclosures. So here is my new enclosure of gem mix that I only got last month. And I'm going to add these from Smugbug. It's really cool. I got a nice group that was sent to me by Isopod Farm, and now I'll have an even bigger group with more genetic variation. Look at the beautiful colors on that one. Love that. Let's check it out. Oh, there's some more, and even with just these few that you can see that the term gem mix is really pretty appropriate. They're like little gems. And I've noticed that at least people seem more interested in purchasing these morph mixes like gem mix, lottery mix, and so on lately. And I totally see the appeal. I've been fascinated by just the variety. So being overwhelmed in a good way, yes, it's happened, because not only am I getting some great stickers and some dry goods that I'm excited to try out, but just getting a marvelous variety of isopods. I sent a list of possible ideas, but I ended up getting just everything on the idea list, I think. So that's pretty awesome. Now you can get a look at these. Wow. Looks like there are a couple there that didn't make it, but that is something that happens once in a while. It looks like the majority of them made it just fine. So they will join the gene pool in my gem mix enclosure. I'm going to put some of these smaller isopods like the Ukraine pied into these 24-ounce, I think it's 24-ounce containers. The Superior Shipping Supplies containers, love these. And I'll put a link to this particular enclosure in the description too. It's great when you're working with small groups. I have to be careful with Cylisticus because they're pretty active. I don't want them jumping out. I'm actually going to see if I can get a better view of them here for you. There. Now you can see them much more closely. These are really pretty cool. And like I said before, underrated species. And so the fact that this morph is now available is pretty exciting. A lot of variety. They seem to carry a lot of patterning, a lot of contrast. You know, unlike, for example, Porcellio scaber Dalmatian, which seems to lose a lot of that over a couple of generations. These seem to have a lot of the pied patterning going on, which is great. Be careful not to toss any. This one is perhaps deceased, it appears to be, but the rest of them are all in great shape. So I'm sure that'll get a good colony going. They're pretty prolific as isopods go as well. I'm kind of surprised they're not more popular. Hopefully they will become so now that we got some cool morphs like this. Before I go on, I just want to give a shout out to my supporters at Patreon. Thank you for doing everything that you do for the channel. As you know, I love to share what I learn and share my experiences with the animals of this amazing planet with you, and I can't do it without your help, so thank you so much. And a big thanks, of course, to Laura at Smugbug. All right, here we go. You know, I don't know the name of her husband, but she mentioned her husband likes the isopods a lot too, so I should give him a shout out as well. And I think it's great that you're both interested in isopods. My wife thinks the isopods are kind of cute, but you know, that's about the extent of it. So I'm glad she has a positive attitude towards them if it's just not a very strong one. So cool. Love these. Look at this. Even that dark one has some really cool edging along the sides there. So like I said, a little bit like Punta Cana, but it's got its own unique appearance. And you really can't go wrong with the morphs of Armadillidium vulgare. There are so many cool ones. There's a couple more. You can see how the different patterns work out. One thing that's very interesting is how many young Armadillidium vulgare, even the wild types, will often have some interesting colorations, but the non-morphs, just the wild types, will generally lose that over time. But the morphs tend to retain them and intensify them. Quite fascinating how that works, and I wonder how that plays out genetically. And there we go. Looks like they're all in great shape. Get a lid on these. And I paused the video once I had unboxed everything before I put them in their containers and put labels on them so I wouldn't get them confused. So I don't want to make any types of mistake like that. Okay, so we've got a couple more to do. Let's do flavo marginatus. Now, flavo marginatus means yellow edged or yellow margined, and the ones that we have in the hobby are not. These are beautiful. And they'll get a lot bigger than this. They are a large Porcellio species. These are nice young ones, perfect size for shipping. And probably won't be too long before they start breeding. I love that most isopod species will breed at a small size. It's very cool. They look very active and healthy in here. And oh, there's a good number of them too. I just put one down. Of course, I'm not too concerned about the numbers exactly. We're going to have plenty, so it's just nice to see them all. Oh, really active. Look at these guys. And whoa, just plenty in there too. That is awesome. Once again, overwhelmed in a good way? Yes. These are fantastic. Let's get a close look at this one. Look at that. That is just, it's beautiful. Really strong contrast. Love that. Ooh. And here we are. Last but definitely not least, Porcellio ornatus Nord. And I asked about these when we were talking about which types I might be interested in, and I was wondering if they were as active and visible and so on as Porcellio ornatus yellow dot, which is also known as south or gold dot. It has a few different names for the locality. And Laura said yes, they are, which is great because they're fabulous. I love these patterns. So it'll be fun to watch these, watch this colony mature, and these will ultimately be a really good display isopod, I think, because the ornatus yellow dot have proven to be so active, so visible. They'll come right up to you and take food out of your hands and so on. So looking forward to that. Really, really looking forward to that. Looks like we lost one there. But I saw lots of active ones scampering about, so it's a sad thing, but I'm not too concerned about establishing a nice healthy culture, because it looks like there are plenty of them in here that did just fine. It's just something that happens once in a while. And there's a nice one. Whoop, I just dropped it into the enclosure. I was going to try to get a close-up on that, but it fell down into the enclosure instead. Let's take a close look. We can. From what I understand, even though the pattern on the younger ones is not quite as yellow, it's kind of like Porcellio ornatus high yellow, in that the younger ones don't have quite the intensity of color, but the pattern is still super awesome. And as they get bigger, the pattern will be, the color will intensify somewhat. I think the website said they don't get quite as intense yellow-wise as Porcellio ornatus high yellow, but I'm not concerned at all. These are just gorgeous, even now, when they don't have their full color. So I can just imagine a big colony of the full-size ones scampering around. That's going to be something to see. And as I let these go, I just wanted to say, and as I let these go into the enclosure, I just wanted to say thank you again to Smugbug for sending these. This is great. I'm looking forward to all these colonies and watching them develop, and overwhelmed is a good word. And thanks to everyone for watching today. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday, all on aquarium and vivarium pets. Please feel free to share, rate, comment, and if you haven't already,
subscribe.
And then click the bell icon so you don't miss my next video.